Hallo Leute, guten Abend. Heute haben wir ein Video-Interview, das ich mit Oliver gemacht habe. Wir haben erstmal Oliver vor 1 oder 2 Wochen kennengelernt in unserer Gruppe. Er hat nach Hamburg gezogen und er hat gesucht wo Kizomba zu tanzen. Und ich hatte Interesse auf ihn. Dann habe ich ihn auch getroffen in La Macumba. Er ist sehr nett und freundlich und ein interessanter Typ. Und deswegen wollte ich ein Interview mit ihm zu machen. Wir haben schon dieses Interview gemacht und jetzt haben wir die Interview-Video und das teilen wir uns jetzt in diese Gruppe. Morgen haben wir dieses Interview auch in die große Kizomba in Hamburg Gruppe teilen werden. Und ich glaube, dass es ist sehr interessant. Es gibt auch hier, ihr könnt gucken, diese Kizomba Breeze Party, das ist am Samstag, sehr schöne Party, große Kooperation zwischen viele Lehrer und Kizomba-Gruppen in Hamburg. Und am Sonntag gibt es auch Kizomba Party in La Macumba und ich hoffe, ein paar von euch dort auch zu treffen. Dann schauen wir jetzt die Video und viel Spaß. Hello Oliver. So we met first time a couple of weeks ago. So we got to know each other through Facebook. You just got to and you were looking for a place to dance Kizomba. It was obvious it's very important for you that Kizomba has a big part in your life. And you already found a few places to dance. You got to know in a short time quite a lot of people. So we met, I think, last week in the party in La Macumba. And I was amazed to see that you already know so many people in the Kizomba scene in Hamburg. That was incredible. So as a start, you can tell us for how long do you dance already Kizomba? How did you start dancing Kizomba?
Of course. Well, first of all, thank you for the opportunity. I started dancing Kizomba a little more than a year and a half ago. At the time, actually, I was already familiar with the music, but not very familiar with the dance. I had just gotten back from Portugal, where I was doing an intensive course to learn Portuguese, and when I got back to South Africa, where I used to live, I asked myself, how am I going to keep my level of Portuguese if I don't have many people to talk to, and I didn't know, I really didn't know any Portuguese speaking people, or maybe just one or two. And that's how I started listening to Kizomba, because most of the songs are in Portuguese, and I fell in love with the music. I decided to delete all my songs on my phone and computer and only listen to Kizomba.
Oh, just to extreme.
Yes, that's very extreme, but it was the only way for me to keep Portuguese into my life. And at some point, I loved the music so much, I thought to myself, I should maybe I should learn the dance. And I talked about it with my girlfriend at the time. I was interested in learning the dance, and I'm sure a lot of people are interested in learning it when they see a video and when they hear about it. But I didn't take an active approach to it. It was actually thanks to that former girlfriend who said, "Well, I found a school. It's not too far from our place, and the class starts tomorrow." So I had no reason not to try it out. And I immediately fell in love with it, and I was lucky enough to be introduced to it by an amazing teacher who's originally from Mozambique, from Maputo.
What is his name?
So it's a she. Her name is Patricia Cardoso. So a young lady that was a student at the time in South Africa, and she was also teaching with another amazing instructor, a South African whose name is Ezra Smollen.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and so you started to learn Kizomba in Johannesburg.
I started in Johannesburg, so like I said, a little bit more than a year and a half ago. In October, I will be celebrating my 2 years. I'm very happy.
Congratulations.
And I was also very lucky to easily find other opportunities to dance. So Johannesburg is a city where you have different schools that teach Kizomba.
So please tell us about the Kizomba scene in Johannesburg. So about the schools, about the socials, the parties. How is it there?
Of course. So I first started at a school that's called HNS in Johannesburg, HNS Kizomba. And I would say that I would describe the Kizomba scene in South Africa in general as relatively small. Johannesburg being the city where there is the most opportunities to dance Kizomba. A community that is relatively small but relatively strong. Obviously, when I say small, I mean in comparison to some places in Europe, like France, or in comparison to places in Europe like France, with a lot of urban kids, for example, and in comparison to places like Mozambique, where it's practically like you learn Kizomba at birth, I'm going to say. Or of course, Angola, where Kizomba originates from.
Mm-hmm. So I'm curious, how is the dress code going to dance Kizomba in Johannesburg? Because I have to say that as I saw you in La Macumba, so you had a suit, maybe even a tie, I'm not sure. And it's, you can see that sometimes, but I can say it's above average comparing to the way people are dancing here. And is it normal in South Africa, or is it your style?
Well, so the socials and parties in South Africa are generally quite casual. But they may have themes or dress codes. What you will often find, whether the party is casual or not, is that most women will always have dancing shoes most of the time. And I have to say that everybody has his or her own style. Actually, I'm thinking of one lady, a German lady by the name of umgezogen, let's say, a little bit older than the average kizomba dancer. Um, Out of respect, I will not share her age, of course. And she always has a very particular way of dressing, um, which is part of her signature. And I guess that a formal dress code is a bit more part of my signature, and perhaps also unconsciously um, a little bit part of my strategy when discovering a new kizomba scene. Because of course we all have our apprehensions when we are lucky enough to travel and to find other kizomba places. We don't know if people dance the same style. We don't know if people will come to us to dance, which is very common in South Africa. Ladies will very easily ask about to dance, but sometimes it's very different in other countries. And I thought to myself, the only way to be sure is also to be dressed nice and let my kizomba do the talking afterwards.
Okay, I get you. So it's like starting a new job. It's better to overdress than underdress, and then with the time you can see how is it, and maybe be a little bit less elegant. So I can imagine you like in a couple of weeks dancing already with a t-shirt and flip-flops.
Asaf, I'm going to have to disappoint you. You will probably never see me in a t-shirt. I might not have a tie. My shirt might not be buttoned all the way up, but most of the time I will at least have a formal shirt, even if I have casual pants and casual shoes.
Okay, fair enough. So please tell us, do you have any favorite kizomba bands or singers you specifically like?
That's a very good question. Well, first of all, I think an interesting thing to share would be that I like different styles. In the sense that I like urban kiz, I like tarashinha, I like traditional kizomba, and I like semba, which a lot of people might not put in the same box. And I guess that most of the ladies I've danced with will be able to say that when a good song comes on, I will often say, "Oh, this is my song. I need to dance it." So there's a lot of songs that I like. I cannot pick one. But if I had to, let's see. I think I would pick a song called Nutenta by an artist called Kali. Would be my favorite song of the moment.
Mm-hmm. Okay, later you can send me a link and we can attach it to this interview.
Of course.
Yeah. Very well. So I wanted to go back a little bit to the kizomba scene in Johannesburg.
Yes.
So I will share my screen now with you. So yes, so you see the picture, right?
I see the picture, yes.
Yeah, so that's, yes, just tell us, where is it? What do we see here?
Okay, well, the picture was taken at a social, at a party that happens, if I'm not mistaken, once a month. And it is organized by a group called Ahora Sí. From what I got, the idea of this group is to have a social once a month with what I would call the gems of salsa. The gems of salsa, so music that you're not necessarily going to hear in other parties, and that you have to dig for a little bit to find. And I should explain that most parties in Johannesburg, and I guess I can say South Africa, although I have very little experience of dancing in other cities. But most places in Johannesburg, when they play kizomba, they will always play salsa bachata as well. And this place is mainly known for salsa. It's a salsa event, but they always try to cater for people like me who only dance kizomba, and people who only dance bachata. So they will play a little bit, but 80% of the music is salsa at Ahora Sí. And at the time, and also of course now, I was so obsessed with kizomba. It was like a drug to me, that I just wanted an opportunity to dance. And if I'm going to have 5 kizomba songs in a night, as long as they're very good songs, I'll take them. I'll go to that place and enjoy myself.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so let's go ahead to the next picture. Yes. So what you can tell us about this place?
Okay, so this place is actually it's a party that was held at my school. So we are lucky enough to have a studio, if I may say, that is adjacent to a restaurant, and so this is home for me. And if there's a party there, I will never ever miss it.
Mm-hmm. So was it like weekly parties or monthly or just sometimes?
So the parties are organized by different schools. The parties are organized by different schools. Sometimes the schools pair up to organize their events, which is, in my opinion, the way to go to strengthen the community. And it's generally there's a party organized by a school at least once a week. Sometimes twice a week. So when I say party, I differentiate it from a social, where after a class you would dance for 1, 2, 3, 4 hours, depending on the time given to us to dance. It is actually, I think, also a signature of schools, at least some schools in South Africa, that give you the opportunity to dance with your fellow students, because you might not be taking the same class, because you're at a different level. And something that I've realized that Hamburg doesn't have, to my knowledge, like you know, I've only been here 2 weeks. But something that is very appreciated in South Africa.
Mm-hmm. So, and those parties that schools would offer, would it be directly after a lesson or in a different time?
So the social would be directly after a lesson. There's a school in South Africa that is a very well known school in Johannesburg that's called Baila Africa, and they had a social every Monday after class. So it was from 8:30 to 10:30. So Mondays were when they had their kizomba classes. So you get 2 hours of kizomba in, and I can tell you that when the clock shows 10:30, everybody's going to ask for one more dance, always, especially me.
So there is after every session of lessons, there is also the social.
Not every school does that, but two of the schools that I used to go to do that, and I think that if we had a bigger Kizomba community, every school would do it. It's I think it is a must.
Yeah, I also think it's very good because just from learning in lessons, it's really difficult to advance. And if you have a chance to dance after the lesson, like in normal party, social, and you can also practice the things you learned. So
Exactly.
yeah,
Because at the end of the day, you don't learn kizomba or any dance. I believe you don't learn it in class. You learn it by practicing at the parties, and it's also a good opportunity to get to know the other students. For people who are, let's say, regulars of that school. It's not going to be an issue, but maybe someone from Hamburg or someone from Israel goes on holiday to South Africa and goes to a class for the first time. Of course, that person will always be very well welcomed. We are very warm over there. But it's also an opportunity for that person to automatically dance with other people and not only in class. And if that person hasn't been long in the country, it's also an opportunity to make friends.
Yeah, I 100% agree. Okay, I want to ask you regarding the next picture. Is that also Kizomba?
Well, if I said it was Kizomba, I think there are a lot of Angolans and a lot of Kizomba lovers that would try to track me down to shoot me. It's a picture of me with a friend. At the time, I think I was living in France and I was on holiday in South Africa. And so just having a good time. But to add to that question, there is a lot of debate in the Kizomba scene in general, from what I've seen, whether it is in South Africa, Hamburg, France, the UAE, on what is Kizomba and what isn't Kizomba. Is urban Kizomba? Is Semba part of Kizomba or another dance completely? And I will say that when we live somewhere where the community is small, that is irrelevant, and that people need to focus on having fun and going home with having made new acquaintances and having learned something new. Basically that it is everybody's responsibility within the community to strengthen the community.
Yeah, I completely agree. So that connects to my next question as well. How do you find the Kizomba scene in Hamburg so far?
Well, the Kizomba scene in Hamburg. Honestly speaking, Asaf, when you and I first connected online, so you saw me struggling to find Kizomba. One of the reasons being I'm not yet fluent in German, and my level of German doesn't permit me to quickly understand what the Facebook groups and websites are all about. So it takes people like you who are bilingual, trilingual, to help a brother out, like we say. So thank you very much for that. And I will also say that, again, I've been here 2 weeks. It is way too early for me to give a judgment that would be fair to the Hamburg Kizomba scene. I will say that the first few days it appeared to me a bit smaller than the Kizomba scene in South Africa. And I will say that the first impressions were that the Kizomba scene is very different. So,
in what way?
Well, I'll give you an example. I went to 2 socials. Where the music was very decent, but obviously I had my own apprehensions. I was new. I didn't know if people were going to dance with me. And the first thing that I realized at these socials is that women do not necessarily feel comfortable asking a gentleman for a dance when they don't know anyone and that they came on their own, which I think is a bit of an issue, but we plan on working on that and changing all that. And
is it different in South Africa? Are women?
In South Africa, I think that it is a bit different. I hope my friends back home will agree. It is different. I'll give you an example. Yesterday, there was a party organized to which I went to, a party at La Rosa restaurant, organized by Barbara and Adrian. And like you said, I easily connect with people, and I try to get to know people very fast. And a lady asked me if I was on Facebook if I was going to that party. I obviously answered yes. And when I returned the question, she asked me. She told me that she was thinking of going, but she wasn't too sure because she didn't have a partner to go with, and that's something that was very shocking to me. And so I asked a little bit more explanation. She, of course, explains that you do not need to have a partner to go to a party. But that in her mind it was better, and from what I've seen, I think a lot of Hamburgers feel the same way. And so I guess if I were to say in what way is the Kizomba scene in South Africa different on this specific element, it would be that sometimes at socials or parties, because of holidays or because the people didn't have enough information on the party, sometimes there are not a lot of people, or not a lot of men compared to the number of ladies. And this is something that can happen when your community is not yet at the level of some communities. But although that is not specifically common, in South Africa, at least in Joburg, when there are a little number of men take it as a duty and a responsibility to make every woman in the room or at the party dance. so that everybody gets a chance to have fun. If there's a lady that's been sitting down for too long, generally most men will go up to her. Doesn't matter if they don't know her. Doesn't matter if they know that she has a different level. It is up to the more experienced to reach out to the others in general, and it is up to men to assist the ladies and make them dance if ever there are a lot of women at a social event.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a good point. I agree. That's important to let everybody feel connected and welcome.
Exactly, because at the end of the day, this is what Kizomba is all about. So Kizomba is a sensual dance. So you connect with your partner. You need to try and feel comfortable with other people very quickly. And I think that it needs to show even on the side of the dance floor, that we can connect very quickly. If you are here, it means that either you know how to dance Kizomba and love Kizomba, or either you want to dance Kizomba and want to love Kizomba.
Absolutely. So next question, are you planning to take part soon in different some course in Hamburg?
Yes. I already tried one class, one school. So I had the opportunity when I was in South Africa to meet a very good instructor from Germany. Her name is Silke Müller, and because we happened to have friends in common, we had the opportunity to meet. So the last time I came to Germany, that was in March, for a few days. I was staying in Hamburg, but I took a train to Hanover for one day, just to be able to go to that class. And I don't regret it, obviously, because Silke has now become a friend, a good friend, but also because she introduced me to Maria Maluka, who gave the class I attended on Tuesday at La Macumba. Very interesting class, very nice class. A very different style of teaching compared to the one that I know, the ones that I know back home. But in a very few seconds, I understood that this was going to be a class where I would be going regularly. Mm-hmm. Yes. And so yesterday I went, like I said, to the party organized by Barbara and Adrian, and it so happens they were having a workshop just before the party, and I was actually very happy with their class. I was very happy also with the music that they played during the party, the DJ that they had there, and I definitely plan to go to their classes as well, because I want to pick up different things from different instructors within different styles. And I'd actually like to take this opportunity to thank Maria, Barbara, and Adrian, who were kind enough to have a bilingual class and workshop on that day to accommodate me. So Maria speaks English and Portuguese very well, and Adrian speaks French, so he was able to assist me when there were a few steps or technicalities that I wasn't that I had a little bit of a hard time grasping.
Are you planning to learn German?
That would be the first form of respect, Asaf, when you go to a country. So definitely, I plan on learning the German.
Which languages do you speak?
So my mother tongue is French, because I'm originally from the Congo. And I arrived in South Africa when I was 3 years old, so obviously learned English there. And like I said earlier, I had the opportunity to learn Portuguese. My Portuguese isn't perfect, but it has actually helped me a lot in Hamburg, because I was very surprised to find out that quite a number of Germans in the Kizomba scene spoke Portuguese, and some of them didn't speak English, so it was the opportunity for us to communicate.
And how did you choose to come to Hamburg? What brought you here, actually?
So, sorry about that. I had a dream, a long time dream. I've had the dream of moving to Germany for practically 15 years now. And last year,
but why Germany?
I've always loved this country. I love the way people do things here. I love the German people. I think they are very friendly people when we get to know them. A lot of people think that they are a bit harsh, and to those people, I think I would say try to scratch a little bit deeper under the surface, and also because I've always somehow been surrounded by Germans. One of my best friends back home in South Africa is German, and I went to school with him. Always went to his house. His parents were always very welcoming to me, and I will always remember. One day I went to his house, and his grandparents were visiting from Germany, and his dad introduced me to his grandparents, to the grandparents, saying, this is Olivier, and he is my second son. And I'm sure when he's going to see that that he won't even remember that, but I think I was 14 years old. But this is something that stayed with me, and I guess it helped grow my love for Germans and my love for Germany, because I started going to Germany a little bit more regularly when I started being independent, and last year, so I had this dream, and I thought to myself, it's time to stop speaking about it and to make it happen. So I decided to look for job opportunities, and since my best friend's family is from Hamburg, and that I had been to Hamburg several times, the city was naturally my first choice.
Mm-hmm. And are you in touch with those friends?
Yes, of course. It just so happens that he is in Hamburg at the moment with his South African wife.
Wonderful.
And so yeah, so his family are here at the moment to visit. So I'm looking forward to meeting them and catching up.
Yeah, wonderful. And how do you find Hamburg so far?
I think Hamburg is a city that has a lot to offer. It's a beautiful city. It is not as rainy and cloudy as people think. I think maybe the locals wouldn't agree because they are always looking for a little bit of sunshine. But there's a lot to do, and the most important thing for me is that I'm treated with respect, people are friendly, and that there is kizomba.
Perfect. Yes, okay, so now I want to share one more picture with you.
All right?
Yes, so can you explain what do we see here?
Okay. Um, so this is a picture. Well, actually, I'm very happy you chose that picture. It is a picture of me performing at an open mic in Paris. So my first passion was music, and I was lucky enough when I used to live in Paris to have musician friends, amazing musician friends. Um, and another of my best friends, who's originally from Morocco, knew that I loved singing, that I loved playing guitar, and she told me yes, one day you should think of trying out this open mic. And I was a bit skeptical at first. I had never really performed in public, and I fell in love with it immediately. And this picture is actually a picture of me. This time I'm not singing. I'm only playing guitar, and I'm accompanying two lovely ladies, two lovely friends who happen to be German. So again, another link with Germany. I tend to find Germans everywhere I can, and yes, this I think this was about maybe 7 years ago.
Hmm.
Mm.
So I also found in your Facebook profile a couple of videos of you singing, which you sing really great. I don't think that I can share it here, but if it's fun, we can share it where we put the interview, and yeah, you sing very beautiful.
Well, thank you very much. Generally, I try to avoid to put videos online, but obviously some people take videos and they tag me, and which is fine, of course. Um, so yeah, you're more than welcome to put them up.
Hmm. Are you planning to find somewhere here to sing?
I plan I plan to find open mics. I've already been to open mics in Hamburg. The last few times I came, my best friend's cousin that I was visiting was kind enough to bring me to an open mic here in Hamburg. Um, but my plan in the long term is to renew with the music, of course, but I'm going to try and maybe work on music that's closer to kizomba. I try to always remix the songs that I do, not do them like the original, but I'm more interested in learning kizomba songs. Unfortunately, it's a bit hard to find the chords on the internet for this type of music, and it will also I will also need to continue strengthening my Portuguese to better sing in Portuguese. So that's going to take a little time.
Okay, we'll wait for that. So
Yeah, hopefully by next year, hopefully.
okay, so I hope to that you will make your debut in our debut performance in our blog.
Well, with great pleasure. I'll definitely let you know when it's ready.
Okay, so that's bring us to the next picture. Yeah, so what do we see here?
Ah, this is a picture of myself and a former client of mine, a former French client of mine. Um, at the time where he came to visit South Africa for work, there was a rugby game between France and South Africa. So he had asked me to organize tickets, and this person is actually most probably one of the two people who motivated me enormously to follow my dreams and one of the reasons why I am where I am today. Definitely, he was a client, but he quickly became a mentor.
Okay, interesting. Yes, very well. So at that point, I want to thank you for your answers. It was interesting to hear how Kizomba is in another part of the world. It's very good to have in Hamburg somebody like you that you bring this great enthusiasm for the dance and the music, and this enthusiasm to connect to people. And also I have to say that you dance very, very beautiful.
Oh, well, thank you very much, Asaf. Thank you for the compliment. Thank you for the opportunity. I think it's hopefully going to assist in strengthening the Kizomba community here in Hamburg, and hopefully it's also going to motivate people to visit South Africa and most importantly come dance in South Africa, which is if all goes well also one of my devious plans once I get to know people a little more here and hopefully link up with my schools back home to give the hamburgers a little taste of the South African Kizomba touch.
Okay, that's an idea. We can organize a group to visit in the South Africa and also to try the local Kizomba scene there.
Perfect. I will need your help, Asaf.
Okay, so thank you very much, Oliver.
Thank you.
Vamos não inventam palavras nesse momento. Onde o sapão é o nosso amor, nossa felicidade, nossa alegria. Até Deus olhou para nós e chamaram nossa imagem no céu, no céu. Agora se explode pela boca, nossa voz fica rouca. De tanto gritar te amo, de tanto gritar te amo. O nosso amor é lindo, nosso amor é lindo, nos faz feliz. Mas o mundo nos chama louco, porque falamos sozinhos na rua, nos chama louco, porque contamos estrelas no céu, nos chama louco, porque tatuamos nossa imagem no coração. Mas o mundo nos chama louco, porque falamos sozinhos na rua, nos chama louco, porque contamos estrelas no céu, nos chama louco, porque tatuamos nossa imagem no coração. Mas o mundo nos chama louco, porque falamos sozinhos na rua, nos chama louco, porque contamos estrelas no céu, nos chama louco, porque tatuamos nossa imagem no coração.
Dann wieder vielen Dank, Oliver, und gute Nacht, Leute.